Hi, Ingrid here with the Week 18 update of Ethan and Ingrid's 2024 Big Year. Patience is a virtue, possess it if you can. I'll skip the second part of that famous quote, but suffice it to say that Ethan and I have become rather impatient waiting for spring migration to arrive in full force in Maine, which is generally the second week in May.
There's no way that this winter is ever going to end.
Our upcoming trip to Florida is still several days away, and every time we searched locally for new birds, the gods threw roadblocks in our path. In one case, we ventured to a nearby wildlife management area in search of kingbirds, vireos, and early warblers, and instead were met by dozens of hound dogs and their masters doing gun training. When we arrived home, we found a new mammal in our backyard, a black squirrel. There are small colonies of these black morph gray squirrels found in pockets throughout the country, including in Edgecombe, Maine. This one must have swum across 2 rivers to get here. While it was exciting to see him, we were impatient to find migrating birds. And within a day or two, these started to appear in decent numbers a little bit south of us. A road trip was in order, and we pointed our car toward Ingrid's home state of Massachusetts once again. Our first stop was the old Pease Air Force Base in New Hampshire. Here we were determined to find the upland sandpipers that had been reported there. Using our spotting scopes, we found one grazing between the 2 runways as planes landed around him. We are never quite sure how wise it is to point high-powered optical gear at commercial airplanes, but anything for a bird. The day was off to a great start. Next, we returned to an Audubon sanctuary we visited last week in Marblehead, Massachusetts. This time, we were in search of a reported hooded warbler. We dipped on this, but picked up a few other first-of-the-year birds, ovenbird, great-crested flycatcher, and northern water thrush. We spent the night in Plymouth, Massachusetts, pre-positioning ourselves within easy range of a couple of exciting birds in the morning. Okay, it's dawn and we are out again. We are kings of the road on our way to find a king rail. We arrived at nearby Burridge Pond in Hamilton and made the long but lovely trek into a bog where we heard and eventually saw the king rail, exactly where he was supposed to be. Victory, my friends, victory. Along the trail, we added several more species to our year list. We crossed our fingers that our luck would last. After a quick pack-up and breakfast back at our hotel, we journeyed to Rehoboth to search for swallow-tailed kites. These guys rarely appear north of South Carolina, but somehow 4 have found their way to Massachusetts and have remained for the past few days. We searched the skies at several reported sites throughout a half-mile area and then waited at a location with an expansive sky view. As we sat in our car with the skylight open and our eyes continually scanning, we negotiated how long we would remain.
In order to expedite these negotiations, we are prepared to make you a very generous offer.
And we are prepared to reject that offer.
Michael, you haven't even heard that.
Never accept their first offer. What is your second offer?
I suggested an hour, Ethan countered with 2, so we settled on 90 minutes. No sooner had that decision been made when Ethan, who had had the foresight to tilt our side-viewed mirrors skyward, spotted some raptors in one of them. We leapt from the car and saw a couple of grackles. But then there was one and then 2 majestic swallow-tailed kites swooping and gliding through the sky. A new life bird for both of us. Perhaps the pie that was in our cooler, no kidding, we really had pie in our cooler, brought us good luck. Time to make our way north toward home and a good cell spot where we could pull over and register for the Southeast Arizona Birding Festival taking place in August. Registration opened at 1 p.m. sharp, and we could not miss our chance to sign up for the trips that could get us the highest number of our target birds, without actually having to drive the nail-biter canyon roads ourselves. As thorough prep work is to a good paint job, Careful planning is to a successful big year. A rainy day was on tap for Thursday, but we were eager to find a few more birds before we migrate south to Florida on Sunday. There had to be some new migrants around. Then, as if the gods had changed their minds about us, we learned about a pile of warblers being seen at Lodholm Farm in Wells, Maine, including a very early and secretive morning warbler. Off we went. We drove through downpours with fingers crossed that the faucet would shut off by the time we arrived. We were in luck with the weather, but not with the morning warbler, which we were unable to relocate. We did, however, find a magnolia warbler, one more new bird for the year. As we were leaving Wells, our friend Richard reported a rare Wilson's phalarope at an old seafood canning plant just 30 minutes away. The Wilson's phalarope is one of the few species in which the female is brighter and more boldly colored than the male. As a matter of fact, phalaropes change traditional gender roles, with males sitting on the eggs and raising the chicks. After the phalarope tick, we stopped at a Portland birding hotspot that annually attracts a great variety of birds during spring migration. While we are still a week or so away from prime warbler movement, we were hopeful that we might find something at Capisset Pond. Sure enough, there was, and our birder friends Tova and Chuck quickly pointed us toward a black-throated blue warbler and a warbling vireo in a marshy area of the park. It's been nice birding in Maine over our 2-week respite from the road, catching up with friends and all of the birding gossip.
Professor, her kind of woman doesn't belong on any committee. Of course, I shouldn't tell you this, but she advocates dirty books.
Tomorrow, we have a 5:25 a.m. flight out of Portland to Florida. On the road again. We hope you will follow us on bigyearbirding.com. Happy birding!